All right, so should be good now. Yeah. All right. Welcome everyone. It's your boy Java slash Mortarian slash Zen, and we are live. Today is Monday, so we're gonna continue with Phoenix right today. Cause why not? And we're moving on in with this bonus segment. So of course, usual lineup, Sky and Kaiser will be taking us through, and yeah. Let us have fun. That is what I say. Everybody here? Yes, we're out here. Alright, so let me just kickstart this. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Cause why not? Because why not? Oh, to all my American viewers and followers, happy Independence. It's the 4th of July. Though it's, parts of America is rocked by the incident that happened over by Chicago, but hey, my condolences. Yeah, that happened.
Myself again.
All right, so we're gonna continue. Let me just turn this down and let it be nothing but thingy here. All right, so. Yeah, let's just do this thing here. Yes. There we go. Alright. Rise from the ashes. Yes. We all ready?
I guess.
I don't have any voice plans for the moment, so I'm here eating my dinner. Don't mind me. I'll unmute.
Wait. What's for dinner? I need the people needs to know.
Okay. So we have salad. We have baby back ribs and King's Hawaiian rolls. And apple juice.
My plane ticket to come over there, right?
By the time we get the plane ticket, the food done.
No. Not the food now got done. So when you have more, right?
There's like
what she say?
A couple.
You get plane ticket food done.
I'm pretty sure when you get the plane ticket, the food gone done though still. I'm not sure. Is you asked? I wasn't volunteering the information. Anyway, I'm gonna mute again.
I've never tried baby back ribs.
Excuse me, what?
Yeah, it's true.
No. Don't make it sound so bad. Baby back ribs is not a thing everybody and anybody can just have so in their life.
But this knife was found on the scene of our crime. I think it makes it connected to this case, don't you think? Along with the baby back ribs.
Baby back ribs, I enjoy that. But nonetheless, see, there's a lot of things that go on at the department. I can explain. I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Righto.
Maybe there's something about the knife that will give us a clue.
You know, like some baby back ribs.
Let's examine that knife while we can, Righto.
She's doing it too. Alright, evidence that links this knife to detective. I think perhaps the pieces are falling into place. I should try presenting the evidence that's had me stumped all this time.
So, how are things down at the department? Gosh.
It has some... Oh. This... No. Was it? Hold on. Let me just check this out. Oh, I don't have a picture for you. Check this out again. Strap.
Those dark spots on it?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but it's not picking up. A small target knife, a cell knife tool. Case number. SL knife. Oh shoot, hold up. Yeah. Yes.
It has to be turned upside down.
Yeah, but let me try it. Got it. Wait a second.
At last! An honest to goodness objection.
This knife. This has something to do with Detective Goodman. Oh, what do you mean?
An honest to goodness, what do you mean from Uchi? This is great!
What is this? Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important. Why? Over here we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. What's this? 6 minus 7 adds 12 of the second.
No, sir.
Yana, it's upside down. Upside? The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? Cha-ching! Ah! Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing that is written on the knife's tag. Order! Well, Chief?
Well. I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Righto.
I win? What game is this guy playing?
This is this. Oh, yeah.
This knife was the evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room.
Really? So this knife was stolen
Yes, but on the day of the murder. Oh, but on the day of the murder, it was evidence, you see. Was it, in fact, a murder weapon? Nice, nice, nice. Good show, little worthy. It was a murder weapon as it happened. Then it was evidence from a case long since solved.
So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder. And it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car.
I do think there isn't a connection there.
The knife was discovered. The knife was stolen. I can't back that up. Let me check about this. Loss of blood from chest wound. Single stab wound was found. 9.5-inch knife. Okay. Scene of the crime, 5:15. Time of the crime, I should say, sorry. Entered at 5:12. Died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. Hour and a half. That's 5:30. But it's still a stretch. So what's up? 5:15. But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What?
Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place at the very same time. What are the chances?
This man has seen way too much death.
Can I tell you, I'm very distracted by him playing with that lock of hair. Because I also play with a lock of my hair sometimes. Like, if it's just hanging there, I'll just like,
Yeah, that's first world problems for you. I don't have such here.
That's not a first world problem. Excuse me. That's having a fucking receding hairline problem.
Go away. Go away. Go away.
But
And it's not a coincidence. And
everybody has first world hair. I'm sorry.
Have you seen? You know what?
That's not the point.
This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say that there is a 0.001% chance of that happening.
You hear that? Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incidents. Please. What do you mean? I need to provide the proof.
Proof is in the pudding.
I can't use this, not yet. Oh, bro. Wait, found in the prosecutor's office. Let me just make sure real quick. Detective. Right, yeah. Here we go. Really? Is that it? Alright, is, but it's the wrong one. It's not official. stove, detective's room. Let me just press and something happened at
I'll
the
be back. Give me.
okay. Something happened at the police department too, huh?
You got a good look in your eyes there, Righto, my boy. Sharp, hungry. So, something did happen, and why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter. I understand. You were busy with that Lana's case and all.
Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department.
That's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Oji?
I'm at a loss for words.
And the perpetrator, do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact.
Just arrested? That was quick.
But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto.
I suppose I could help. If you help me by giving me data on your case.
Oh, good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I tell you one thing and one thing only.
Can't I hate you? Alright, think. Where was the victim found? In the police department. How was the victim killed? Stabbed. When the victim died, they said 5:15.
Stop shot. In fact,
Really?
don't listen to me.
No, we already know where the victim was killed.
We know where they were killed. Yeah.
No, we technically know.
Okay,
where was the
okay.
body
Which victim are you
found?
talking about? The one at the police department, right? Not the one at the prosecutor's office. Because the one at the prosecutor's office was Detective Goodman.
Yeah, we know
Yeah.
all of that. So all of these questions would be redundant.
So what? But is he referring to the victim at the police
We
department?
still don't know
Yes,
how the
he is.
victim was killed.
Yes, he is.
We still don't
That's the
know
one
how
he's talking about.
Yeah. We still don't know how the victim was killed. We know the victim was found at the police department. When the victim died was 5:15. I'm writing on this. Well, how was the detective killed?
How was he killed? Now that's the interesting part. It was what we in the force called a stabbing with a knife. Oh shit, we do know how he was killed. He was killed with a knife.
Knife?
With the knife. That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. Wasn't it with the switchblade? That's the spirit we're cooking now.
There's more to this, man. There's more to this.
But you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same.
I don't like these eyes, man. What do you mean?
There are more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death.
It seems like I'm gonna have to press this a bit harder. Alright. Let's go again. So, how the victim died? how the victim died. So it can't be when the victim died. Can it?
We can check.
Because I already said
Seems like we can
5:15.
keep doing it over and over.
True, but I mean,
It's not technically cheating if they give you the option and there is no repercussions for it.
yeah, because we're just pressing. Alright, so when did the murder happen at the police department occur?
Now that's a sharp question, Righto. Very sharp.
Thanks.
Well, my boy, you're gonna love this. Oh,
Right into
yeah,
it.
Right into it.
Right into it. I know.
Oh, so he says this. So in other words, there's no point in pressing him anymore. We
Right,
actually
because-
found the question
Right.
that we were supposed to ask.
But at the same time, we still need to find the link. We still need to find the link. That's the problem. This was found at the prosecutor's office. Right? But... There's blood from Goodman and Sky. We've been through that already. Found at the crime scene. Wait. It's not officially linked to this case, so I can't talk much about it. But the knife was found at the crime scene wrapped in the defendant's muffler. Whose blood is this? That's what I want to know. Whose blood does the knife belongs to? Yeah. Huh. This is tough. This is it. I know this is it. Nothing here. Hello. What's this? Name and ID number written here. Sergeant Bruce Goodman. Da 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 da. Yep. Okay, that's just this stuff. Oops. Hold on. Alright, let me go back. Alright, let me go back to this real quick. Because, bro, for the hell of it. So tell me, where was the victim found?
Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department.
Evidence room. Evidence room. Wait a second. I've heard of that. Yep, so. Sky.
The evidence room? Didn't he just mention that in his testimony a while ago?
The knife was evidence in the case. It was stolen from the department evidence room.
There is a connection between the two cases.
You seem happy, Mr. Wright.
Of course I am. Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gan to testify about the details.
Minor.
Alright. No, my question is, do I present this same knife again? Yeah. Safety first. Chief. The defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases have already been proven.
Hey, you don't say. Well, out with it, righto. What's the connection? What's your connection?
Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. Get on with it. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room.
Not to mention, the victim had on him the case number and the knife's evidence tag.
And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed. There do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence. This man's eyes, yo.
That's so cool. You two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here.
Wow.
Chief, I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all.
Can we get the information unofficially?
In a courtroom.
Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all.
What? Really? Just so?
Who would have guessed?
He's smart though. That's smart.
Yeah, he's smart, but he's also very, very sus.
Well, he is the chief of police. If you're gonna tell us a little, why not tell us everything, eh?
Ah, well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly.
Oh well. Guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. Okay. The victim's gender is a man. The victim's ID number. Okay. How about you tell me the victim's ID number?
Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that.
Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all.
We keep it tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. Go getting your hopes up. The number is 5842189.
We won the lotto, guys. We won the lotto. Well, that's quite long.
And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts.
8, 2. I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right. Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything?
Tells you everything.
The ID number of the tells me something. Let's go. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning? It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. What does it tell you? It tells me that this belongs to the man. Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. Teehee. No, it's just I got confused.
And this is news?
Drip up.
Huh?
Just come out with it. Guns, with both guns blazing, like you always do.
Police department, prosecutor's office. 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Oh ho! Ho ho! Is it yours? No, bro. I'm a defense attorney. Remember? Oh, Judge. This is the ID number for our victim, Detective Goodman.
Shame on you, Righto. Personal IDs are top secret.
Detective Goodman's ID number is 584-2189.
Well, shit. Well, shit.
Well, shit. And this means what exactly? Huh? You know, like, I feel like the judge brain doesn't work unless
He's just there to bang the gavel. That's it.
like,
Give the verdict.
it doesn't work, yo.
He's not there to use his brain cells.
Wait.
had-
That ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82. I forgot. Emma is right. My brain just exists to bang the gavel. You didn't even get the first number right. Again. Oh, Judge. Let's do this again. The number the chief of police gave us was 584-2189. Huh?
Wait a second. Right. What does this?
Finally, Edgeworth got it. Mean? That's what I want to know, bro. The 2 IDs numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Not all.
Oh ho ho! Sharp as a tack, Righto. Sharp as a tack.
But wait! Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet, Detective Bruce Goodman was also killed in the police department. In the evidence room at the exact time.
So, doppelganger?
Right?
That's impossible. So what we're saying is the same person was killed at the same time and in a completely different location?
Man. Order. Chief, what is it?
No. What I want to know is why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of this case. Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait, or didn't you hear me?
Drip up.
The oversight, the grave error. Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. Doc, what? How dare you?
How dare you?
We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our officer Meekins who brought the news.
Oh no! Oh no, Edgeworth!
Oh
no, Edgeworth! That's the biggest. That's the biggest L, bro.
Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait! Aha!
Oh, he ain't here. Excuse me! Is Mr. Edgeworth, anyway, on the premises? I'm here, sir, on the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir.
You don't mean him. According to Meekins, didn't accept the report. Ah, that fucking Edgeworth, I hate you so much. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said the report had nothing to do with Lana Sky incident. Exactly, idiot. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report.
Aye.
Yeah. Why didn't your officer tell me?
Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection.
It's an eye drip? Oh, Jesus.
He did seem challenged.
In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy. But sir, you couldn't have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then I
feel I'm gonna come with like the hugest drape up now.
no such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy.
Oh,
Nani? Now, what was the second rule of evidence law?
Like, Phoenix is also right here watching. And the more him fight, the more him get drip up in front of everybody.
Big drip. Well, Mr. Right?
Huh? Oh, well, it's
Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
unregistered evidence must be presented must be oh.
And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list.
So, what does this mean?
I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Raito over here. Good job, Raito, my boy.
Oh damn, we have sunk Edgeworth. Huh? Oh, I was just doing my job.
No. No!
Share Edgeworth.
The name of this episode should be Edgeworth Slander.
No, the name of this episode should just be Dribble.
You know what? Let me rename this real quick. Rename this, guys. Trust me, I was not expecting this. Well, and big drip up.
Type of big drip up.
There we go. Continuing. It seems we have come to the end of this trial, question mark?
I know you're going through a tough time with him. What with all those rumors? You're even in the defendant's chair just this past December. I apologize for the terrible lack of due diligence on my part.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened. If it's the last thing I do. We better get results this time. Really. You have my profound apologies, sir.
Oh, poor Mr. Edgeworth.
I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well. Court is adjourned. Big drip up.
The biggest drip up in Phoenix history.
Brother. Continuing. This have to go up on YouTube. Nah lie. February 23rd. 2:15 p.m. Right and call offices.
I'm done. Mr. Wright? So... what's going on with the case anyway?
Well, I don't know, Rasta. It's like one of those movies where we don't know what's going on, but what we heard yesterday was Edgeworth getting the drip up of his life.
Hey, you got draped up too, you know.
But not as bad as you, man.
I'm a little confused.
Huh? Well, let's see. What is going on? I don't know. The detective, Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. He died in the prosecutor's parking lot and the police department's evidence room.
What's this and the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car.
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. We're going to figure out. Or try to, at least.
Alright, let's do it.
Glad she's in good spirits. I'm not sure she's going to be of much help with this.
Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright.
Why are you reading my mind? Huh?
Look, we're in this together, right?
Right.
I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go. Science awaits us.
Where's Maya?
Maya gone to find herself in the mountains.
February 23, prosecutor's office, underground parking lot.
Done.
Find herself in the mountains. That's good.
You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares?
Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in the evidence room. No biggie.
Besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I knew it. Edgeworth.
That oil drum, was it empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
I love your voice. Please give me an autograph. That was the best yada voice.
I tried. My sister erasing evidence at a crime scene? Never!
Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister.
That's not it at all!
Start reading my mind!
It's just... We're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her.
Big words for a high school student. But, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away.
Ignore the strength of my science at your own peril, Mr. Wright.
Huh? What? What's that green for?
This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminal testing fluid.
There's an ad for this, right? Somewhere here.
Luminal testing fluid.
Luminal?
Blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water.
And there's the ad right there.
Even if you can't see it, it's still there.
So try our new Luminals bottle. But wouldn't police already done those tests?
Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright.
True.
Just give it a try.
Me? Why do I have to do it?
I'm a minor, I can't even drink yet.
But you can... You know what?
Gas spray buckle youth.
We're testing blood stains with this stuff, not drinking it.
Here, I'll lend you these glasses.
Huh? You had an extra pair of those things? Oh.
To test for a blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this, see? Press enter to spray it on.
You're having too much fun with this, Sky.
Well, you can hear it in my voice.
Okay, let's find us some bloodstains.
Okay. Hello.
Blood.
Zoom in. Enhance.
I can see your eyes shining behind those glasses, just as I can hear the excitement and happiness in Sky's voice. So, this is a bloodstain?
It's so... Ugh.
Emma, you're shaking.
It's just this is my first time seeing real blood.
You're not ready for this. You're not ready for Batman place it, my dear. Scientific and investigation in action.
Oh, okay. Well, we definitely know that this is a blood stain. But doesn't something strike you as odd? Scientifically speaking, of course.
What's odd about this, scientifically? Will be the amount of blood. Perpetrator and the detective Goodman fought here, right? Don't you think there'd be a little more blood?
I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe.
It is pretty strange. If they fought here, they'd have to have been more blood than this.
Hey, Mr. Wright? I'm gonna mark up the floor plans when we find the blood stain, okay? See? I'm pretty handy to have around, right?
Where's Maya? Yeah. This stuff's pretty handy too.
I saved up all my allowance to buy that. Can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view of the case.
Then let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day.
Yeah. Feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it?
Guess I should give this a try and a spray on anything suspicious. I don't know who that is. Oh!
I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Star? You only trust your own eyes, hmm? Not bad, you two. This day-old deli box is on the house.
Sorry, it's just that kind of leading doesn't really get my mouth watering.
Why is she here though? I thought it was done with that.
She gotta sit with her man them, my dear. She gotta look for her man them.
Oh. You
There's no
certainly
such
put
thing
me
as
in
too
a...
much arara.
Welcome, boss.
Alright. Lord have mercy. Okay.
You certainly put me in a tight spot today.
My apologies, Miss Star, but
No, it's okay. It was my fault. Oh, we know. I witnessed everything from that security room right there. But I was afraid that I wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see? I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry.
I'd asked her for her number, but only one woman gets my heart. Dee Vasquez.
Sorry? You lied on the witness stand. That is unforgivable. Little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the events from was different, I still saw what I saw. I saw Chief Prosecutor Sky stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands. I swear it on my honor as a detective. She stabbed Goodman.
I know this photograph has something important to tell us, but what?
So, you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Starr? Yes, it was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal when they faced me, they coughed it up.
Coughed it up?
They confessed. They babbled like babies. You know, I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I can be an angel too.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Every day, drag the dirt out of the mouths of suspect after suspect. And before long, they called me the cough-up queen. Oh, and Harry thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches.
And you were let go? Fired?
I felt I'd found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if these prim and proper prosecutors hadn't let me go, I'd still be one today. It's all because of that case. The SL9 incident.
SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean...
Well, I guess you're gonna show her that knife now or something.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
The SL9 incident. It's written on that knife. And on that note. Goodman. Goodman was a head detective on that case, you know. Really? That knife was evidence from that case. The murder weapon. Was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected, SL9 isn't over. Not yet.
Do you think you could tell us more about the SL9 incident? Still nothing?
She's not coughing it up. You haven't given her anything juicy yet.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, boy.
Yes, boy. I don't really have anything juicy to tell her.
Better find something right now to get the information.
If you think about it, I could have taken that picture from the guard room. But even I get flustered sometimes.
So you went straight to the scene of crime?
I rushed to the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murder. That's when I took this photo, yes. In other words, 5 minutes after the crime. Those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The hole in my testimony, as it were. The 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Star. You lying was the problem. Listen, little girl. I've had my testimony disregarded before. And I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time.
That time? Will you speak finally? Jesus!
That incident really opened my eyes to the truth. We're nothing to them. Disposable. Disposable? To who? Two years ago, it was the biggest case I'd ever handled. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. So they didn't solve it? On the contrary, it was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed.
Executed?
Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was, they never did find decisive evidence. Not a shred.
What? But the criminal was executed, right?
On the basis of evidence of a sort. Made up evidence.
What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? The best part came several months after the trial. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job. And you were one of those. Myself and one other person you know well.
Wait, could it be?
Exactly. Detective Jake Marshall. Oops. I mean, Police Department Security Detail Officer Marshall, Jake Marshall. As professional detectives, we investigated that case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined. And then it was over, and he was demoted. However, he hasn't forgotten, and neither have I.
You haven't forgotten SL9?
There was another side to that case, a hidden side. That's what we're after now. And no one up in their fancy offices can stop us. Wait! Those lunches you sell. There's only one reason I come to sell lunches in this accursed office. I come here to meet old friends, boyfriends that can help me investigate.
The star's old boyfriends. How many she have again? Just when all the detectives on SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence.
There has to be a connection. So, Rookie.
What? Huh?
It seems like you're serious about investigating this case.
Yes.
Then you should take this.
Salisbury steak lunch?
Salisbury.
Sorry.
I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat.
Alright.
Miss Starr? Officer Marshall, is he your, are you his... are you going out? Why do you want to know?
You're too young anyways. He needs a more mature woman.
I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister, it made me jealous. And he was nice to me too back then.
Oh. This would be when Officer Marshall was a detective.
Ew, hold on, what?
Don't think too deep.
Don't it.
It is deep. What the hell? That's disgusting.
Don't think too deep.
Marshall. Ugh.
But now he's so cold. Jake and I are merely cooperating in this investigation. We're putting the past to rest, as it were. Nothing more than that. I see. Thank you.
That's Jake Marshall. Alright. Slide to the right. I think that's it for here.
Are you not spraying any more things to go and find any more blood splatter?
Not here. Best place to go will be the prosecutor's office.
February 23. High Prosecutor's Office. Room 1202.
Dun dun.
Well, this place is as classy today as it was yesterday.
And I'm sure it'll be classy, just as classy tomorrow, Emma. Incidentally, Edgeworth's not here.
I'm sure he's off doing important investigations.
Is it that he's walking or taking the bus this time? I wonder. Still, I hope that's what he's doing, and not drinking. Guess we'll have to come back. Okay. That's the underground parking lot. Onwards to the police department.
February 23rd, Police Department entrance.
Dun, dun.
Done.
It's even busier today than it was yesterday.
The detectives are running around so fast they're blurring.
Suppose it makes sense. A detective did get killed here after all.
So, the evidence room, the scene of the crime. According to the pamphlet we got at the front desk. Here it is.
She's like a kid at an amusement park.
Ooh, a real crime scene. Let's go take a look.
Oh my gosh. Guard station? No, hold on. February 23rd, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Wow, everyone's looks deadly serious here.
Well, there was a vicious murder of a detective down at the police department.
Yes, but the same detective was also killed at the same time in the prosecutor's lot.
It makes my head hurt.
Well, first things first, let's go check out the police department crime scene.
Yes, you sound dead set on investigating. But don't mess up, or we could wind up dead.
I hate you, Sky. You just so.
I was about to say you were reeling from the pun, weren't you?
Yes, I hated it. I hated it.
Can I just say, it wasn't my fault. The game, those were my lines, and I read them perfectly. I did what I came here to do.
So don't hate the actor. Don't hate the actor. Hate the script writer.
Yeah,
Thank
Java,
you,
I feel sad for you.
Thank
I
you,
feel so
Nara.
sad for you. You made a great mistake playing
No
this game.
problem.
I doubt anyone wants more mysteries or dead bodies around here right now. And no more puns. But it looks like no anyone's gonna help us much anyways. And I'm not gonna get away from the puns, it seems. Back to the police department entrance. Going to the guard station. Well, this reeks of the Wild Wild West here. February
Look at all
20th.
those alcohol
23.
bottles.
Evidence room entrance. Guard station.
Done.
Is that a cactus?
Yes,
What's-
it's several cacti, actually.
What's with the decor
There's
in
a
this
succulent
place?
on the table, and then there's, if you look closer to the bottom left, you can see it's more than one, because there's a big one, then there's like two smaller ones. This dude is nuts.
It's very eccentric.
And or drunk.
According to the pamphlet, this is a guard station room for the evidence room. Ugh.
So beyond that door is the evidence room, the scene of crime.
It sure seems that way. Oh.
What's wrong?
It's those cacti! They're so prickly and it's so imposing, it's hard to think straight.
You can't handle the cacti, stay out of the desert. What I want to know is, if this is a guard station, where's the guard?
I have a feeling I know who he is already.
I mean, come on, Phoenix. Come on, Phoenix.
If the big old Texas sign didn't give it away.
It's Edgeworth. Knew it. Fucking hell. Can't believe I played this character.
The evidence room is behind that door.
Let's just walk in. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It won't open.
Don't worry about it, right? You thought it'd be open? I think we need permission, someone's permission to go in there first. Well,
Oh, I
Or-
get it now.
Muffle look, muffle
Is it like
find
a
him.
thumb? It's a biometric reader? Is that
No,
it?
no. Angel Star gave us the thing.
Yeah, I just need to.
Needs to find him now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Blah blah blah. Police department. Blah blah blah.
This is charged with the frantic energy as always. What the heck is this?
Huh? Wasn't that?
Oh.
Perfect timing.
One steak lunch, please. Oh, it's you. Detective Gumshoe. What's up, man?
What's up?
What?
What's up, everybody?
Bro.
That's it. Perfect timing.
Alright, so we need to claim back my voice now.
Yes.
Alright, let's see if I still got it. What I really need is a steak lunch from Lunchland.
I miss this voice so much.
Oh, you mean one of these? Actually, it's not for sale.
Huh?
Oh no, not it. Oh no.
I think I just heard the sound of his heart breaking. I heard it too.
Same.
Now's no time for despair. If caught a criminal, now we just need evidence.
Criminal. You mean
You heard about the stabbing in the police department? Evidence, you right, pal?
on the same day that wait, this is a past. On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department.
And the
Alright,
perpetrator.
quick.
Do you have a suspect? Suspect. Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested them, in fact.
I love it.
Evidence talk to two of you.
But Detective Gumshoe, who was it?
All I know is I need Miss Take Lunch. Pronto!
Yeah man, same so. Need food.
Standing around here talking isn't going to fill my belly.
Same so my boss. What man called?
Yeah, right. I'm something with the matter.
Wait! Don't leave!
Listen, I'm hungry. If you want to know more, head on down to the detention center, pal. Questioning should be over, so I figure he's down there having a good cry. Hey, good. Alligator.
Ran off to the evidence room.
Well, this investigation is off to a running start, literally. Alright, here we'll go on. Alright, let me just go to the detention center. Alright.
Still, I do feel a bit better about things. A little. I mean, they caught the person who stabbed Detective Goodman, didn't they?
I guess they did. Let's not to go too far down that road right now. Things will just get confusing. What the heck?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Don't tell me.
What was that?
Jaja. Sir, that's what I'm saying. Me? A perpetrator? Wait, who is Officer Meekings? You're supposed to be
Okay,
Meekings.
I'd say I was the perpetrator again, sir. That's what I'd say. I didn't figure out who it was until. Hi, greetings, sir.
Wait, I know who you are.
Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anyone on the premises?
Sis.
I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir.
Sir.
Officer Meekins, so you're a guard here at the detention center?
No, sir, I'm not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman, like a little lost lamb, sir.
Oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report?
No, sir. How should I say this?
Wait, he isn't. Is he? No, you, Officer Meekins. You didn't. Did you?
Perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir.
What? What?
No, this is an unexpected turn of events. Brother, who would... You know what? Oh boy.
Sir, I'm a patrolman with general affairs, sir! Sir!
Ow! I can hear you just fine, Officer Meekins.
I had some business that day, sir, and so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station in front of the room was empty, sir.
So, normally there's a guard at the evidence room.
That's right, sir, because evidence is kept in the evidence room, sir.
I love it.
Now, the security officer was none other than Officer Marshall.
Marshall?
Then, sir, I happened to glance at the security room monitor. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room. A suspicious person, sir! A suspicious person, yeah! Wow!
I love... What the heck is this guy doing? I love it. I love it.
So, what happened then?
After that, sir, everything went white. I saw red, I blacked out. And when I came to, I was here, in the detention center.
How long were you out? Days? Sky.
Might I ask, what happened to your hand?
Sir, there was no one to bandage me, sir. So I did what I could to wrap it up, sir.
A bandage on his hand. Just like the Sky.
Yet another similarity between this case and the one at the prosecutor's office.
First things first. Tell us how you hurt your hand. Oh. I don't mean to pry, but you are the perpetrator, correct? You killed Detective Bruce Goodman in the evidence room, right?
Sir, please don't look at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, sir. If you have to label me a perpetrator or victim, sir, then label me victim.
I would, but you happen to be in detention. And alive and well at that.
Yes, well, that's true, sir. I suppose you could say that.
Did you know the detective, the victim, Detective Goodman?
Well, sir, if I had to label him as a stranger or a total stranger, then I'd say he leans heavily on the total stranger side.
So, you didn't know?
Sir, I work in a tiny department, devoid of light or other creature comforts.
They just locked this man away in a dungeon?
I don't know any detectives.
How did you get this job, bro?
So, if he was a total stranger, why did you stab him?
Sir, I had no intention of killing him, sir. None! Nor do I have any recollection of killing him, sir.
At least someone around here is more confused than I am. So about your hand, did that happen during the course of the crime?
Well, you see, sir,
Don't you think you should just confess?
but sir, but there was nothing I could do.
Nothing you could do.
Sir, to tell the truth, sir, when it happened, when the detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered, sir. And the next thing I knew, I was unconscious.
I can believe that. The next thing you knew, you were... Huh?
Then when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, sir. All alone. Alone because Detective Goodman had disappeared.
What?
Then when I looked down, I was gushing blood from my hands, sir. Oh, the shock, oh, the sorrow, sir. Can you imagine how I felt?
The victim's body disappeared.
That's some story.
Interesting. This whole thing just... Alright, let me... Whoops. I don't think I can even show him anything because mans don't know nothing.
I don't.
Yeah.
No comment.
Yeah, never. Then again.
Did you just read through that?
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
really doesn't.
he.
He can't help.
Okay.
He can't. Yeah. I'm not thinking about help me at all. Moving on. Guard station. It's not back. Let me go to the criminal affairs. Body. Detention center. I'm stuck with him. What to do?
There's nothing to do.
Do you think you could take a look at this?
Oh, okay. Hey! That's it, sir. That's it. That's it.
That's what?
My head was a blank until this very moment.
Jesus.
But sir, now I remember. I remember, sir.
You mean you remember what happened?
Correct. That card. That card was the cause of it all.
This ID card?
Exactly, sir. That's exactly it. Nothing could be more exact, sir. Nothing.
Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
better pry into this one a little deeper. I'm sorry, guys.
Is Brett Anita Xanax?
Can you tell me what it is you do remember?
Well, sir, you might say I'm a lost little patrolman, a lost little lamb, if you will.
Huh.
I didn't know Mr. Detective Goodman, who was in the evidence room. And that's why you thought he... Oh, sorry.
Yes, and that's why you thought he looks suspicious.
Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card.
Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far.
That's right, sir. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do?
That's the thing. Suddenly he pointed a knife at me.
What?
warrant in so that's alright.
Sir, I assure you, I was as flustered as you are right now. So I whooped and leaped at him. Leapt at him.
What? Detective Goodman pointed a knife at him.
Do unto others before they do unto you. My own father's words, sir.
What happened then?
Hold on, wait, pause. Do unto others before they
Don't
do unto you?
don't question it, bro. Don't question it. Don't question
Well.
it.
Listen.
Just make it go on. Just make it go on.
Well, my eyes, sir, everything went white. When I awoke, I was here.
Right.
So, Officer Meekins, why was it that they arrested you?
What do you mean, Emma?
Let's look at what we know. Now, Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman. And the victim, who he met at the scene of the crime, didn't show his ID card.
In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim was really the victim.
And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't even know if anyone actually died.
That's it, sir. That's what I wanted to say. That is, I did say something along those lines.
Oh, but you still ended up here.
They told me that it had to be him, sir, on that day, at that time. Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they said.
But you don't remember the events clearly.
No, but the videotape is quite clear.
Huh? The videotape?
From the security camera. The crime I swore to stamp out. It's there. It's me. It's on tape.
And you waited until now to tell us this?
I'm sorry. Really sorry, sir. I'll hand over my badge. I don't deserve it.
No thanks. I have my own. Well, let's roll out. Or should we? It's 8:45, something there.
Yeah.
Sky, what time is it here today?
Oh, I'm on the same time as you guys.
Is that so?
Ignoring daylight savings time, so... Well, or actually, if you're... Okay,
Yeah, but in about another week and a half, I'm gonna be 2 hours behind you guys. But don't worry about it.
Alright.
We'll wrap this up real quick.
Hey, Mr. Wright, look who's standing at the Chief of Detectives desk.
Oh, Police Chief Gant. Gant.
Who's going?
Sorry, I was muted. I did say it. And you're sure it's all, You know what it means if there's anything missing.
Sir, I'm sure he's most likely totally perfect. He checked all of his drawers, lockers, garbage cans, bags, coat pockets, hats, under his seat cushion, behind his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine.
I see. But if anything does turn up, you call me right away, deal?
Yes, sir. Discovered the place again, sir. Chief of Detectives looks a little flustered.
Aha, righto, my boy. How have you been? Swim much?
Oh, Chief Khan, reporting for duty, sir. I'm sorry, what?
Why are you saluting him, Mr. Wright?
This imposing man.
What is what the fuck?
Oh, I was supposed to send that sticker to you guys to give you a laugh. Hold on.
What?
Hold on. Okay, God, WhatsApp is such a dirty. I'm trying to find your chat. Give me a second.
Is Edra gonna be okay?
There you go. I'm gonna go and send it to Kaiser.
Oh, worthy. Oh, you know they're doing a little inquiry committee with him.
I hate this guy. I hate Sky so much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sounds like an inquisition.
Yep. Well, they had no end of trouble with the boys since last year.
You mean the incident on Gordley?
It doesn't look good having a top prosecutor sit in the defendants, does it? And you got someone else found guilty in the case, right? Righto.
Yeah, Van Karma.
A legend as he was undefeated in his 40-year career. But in court, you fixed it, so he was caught for forging evidence.
Wait. I didn't do anything wrong. He did forge evidence.
In any case, the prosecutor's office is in a bit of a turmoil, you might say. Right? They do just about anything to restore their reputation. Now, depending on what that inquiry committee decides, it could be bad for Worthy.
What?
This brother wants sinking body now. Alright, one last dialogue and we'll close up.
It's downright odd, I tell you. The detective getting killed on their turf too, I mean.
There being the prosecutors, I presume.
Scientifically speaking, it's impossible.
Yes, but that's what the evidence is saying. Goodman was stabbed in 2 locations at the same time. That's what it says.
What evidence is this?
Now, righto. I can't give away all our secrets just like that. And this is in particular. Well, it's a little sensitive, and I can't talk about it.
I wasn't expecting much anyway.
You know, one thing I hate most of all is hiding stuff. Secrets. Can't stand them. But you know, it's a full-time job just keeping the chief of detectives trap shut.
He was the one you were picking on earlier.
Huh, you saw that? Whoop.
I wonder what it was that he wanted the chief of detectives.
Let's see if we can ask him. Kind of discreetly ask him.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up here for now. What can I say? This has been a very surprising and very interesting and funny stream. Special thanks to my voice actors, and I say voice actors, Living Kaiser,
Yo.
Sky,
Hey there.
Marukami,
It was no problem, sir.
and a long time voice actor from the beginning, Jamaican gamer. He's
Big up. It's been a while.
yes, it has.
It's
So-
been 84 years.
So, of course, we'll be continuing the stream on Wednesday of this week. You know, just to speed things up so we can start the new season 2. Till then, everyone, peace in the Middle East. Take care, everyone.
Let's go.
Bye.
Peace.